7 considerations when you're using gold or Bitcoin as payment when the dollars collapsed. How prepared are you? Now, early in 2020, lots of things happened in the world. The C-word virus, Iran-American war, protesting in Hong Kong, and more. Rich people are preparing to protect their wealth. The price of gold and Bitcoin will rise up together. As I have previously mentioned, how people like to compare the two based on their similarity. Now in this video, we'll take a closer look at gold and Bitcoin in terms of which one is better to be used as money for buying things, selling things when people keep losing trust to the banks and monetary system. In times when the dollar has collapsed or collapsing, the Feds, central banks, and individual countries will start making their own digital currency just to confuse people that their cryptocurrency is Bitcoin, but it's not the same. Shifting paper dollar to digital currency is just a new package, pouring old wine into new bottle. If the system behind this new digital currency is the same, printing more, increasing, decreasing rates, manipulating the values by one central point, then people are not going to trust it because the system is still designed to lose the purchasing power. People will want to park their wealth into something more promising and trusted. So now, will Bitcoin or gold can be used as cash payment in the next few years? If so, how are they doing as money? Let's find out. Number 1, portability. Traditionally, in the old days, you could carry a few small gold coins to the local market and you can pretty much buy anything on the spot because gold held a lot of value in a small place. However, in the modern digital age, where we shop online globally, it is not easy to, for example, use gold to buy toilet paper on eBay. Gold becomes less convenient in this digital economy and globalization. There is a solution for this, though. You can use a third-party company to transfer your gold ownership to someone else. For example, bullionvault.com or goldmoney.com, and many others can provide you with this service. But I don't like the idea of giving my gold to a second or third party and pay a fee whenever I shop. It introduces a third-party risk where you are dependent on these companies and have to trust them not to steal your gold. Portability is where Bitcoin shines. Bitcoin can be transferred anywhere in the world at any time. As long as you have a phone or a computer with an internet connection, you can pay payments almost instantly and at a low cost, without going through a third party like PayPal, Visa, Western Union, Apple Pay, or WePay. Number 2, divisibility. Gold can be divided into smaller amounts, ounces, but there are limitations. As in the old days, you would need equipment and set up it physically heat and melt the gold yourself, or pay someone else to melt it for you, which takes extra steps to create the exact amount of gold if you want to use it for spending later. The other limitation is that 1 gram of gold is roughly about US $50, but if you want to buy coffee with gold, it would be impractical to pay with a 10 milligram of gold because it's like a gold dust. Most businesses won't accept it. Bitcoin, on the other hand, is free to divide up to 100 million, that we call it a Satoshi. 1 Bitcoin contains 100 million Satoshis. You can send someone 1 Satoshi as easy as sending someone 1 Bitcoin, which could be worth $1 million, almost instantly and at low cost. Number 3, acceptability. Gold is not as convenient as a payment in the modern world because your everyday plumbers, doctors, supermarket cashier, photographers, or cafe probably won't accept gold as payment for many legitimate reasons. We may see use of gold as payment when people start losing trust with fiat currency due to the economic crisis, but it would only be a short term until another form of digital payment can solve the problem. We changed gold to the paper fiat money to pay for everyday goods and services for a good reason. Well, Bitcoin is not so great for acceptability in 2020 either. Due to its volatility in price, difficulty to buy and store for now, and not widely accepted in social, business, society, I don't think my electrician would accept Bitcoin as payment. But Bitcoin is growing more popular every day. More and more companies are developing faster and more improved platforms to make Bitcoin more user-friendly as a method of payment for goods and services. More and more retailers are slowly accepting Bitcoin as payment. My wedding photography company also accepts Bitcoins, and we have brides paying for their wedding packages with Bitcoin. Ka-ting, ka-ting. I believe in time, the Bitcoin price will become more stable. Young people will grow up being educated about blockchain technology, so there is huge potential for Bitcoin to be accepted as payment in the coming years. Number 4, safety and resistance to regulation. Owning a large amount of gold is not safe. If you store them in your house, then one home invasion and you've lost everything. If it's not a robber in your house, the government can also take your gold. It has been done before when governments are in financial trouble. Even the mighty US made owning gold a criminal act. In 1933, the US president signed an order to forbid the hoarding of gold coins, gold bullion, and gold certificates, which made gold ownership illegal for all Americans and punishable by up to 10 years in prison. Anyone caught with gold would also have to pay a fine of twice the amount of gold that was not turned over to the Federal Reserve in exchange for paper money. This ban was not lifted until 1974. This could happen in any country, and because gold has no deniability and is in a physical location, governments can use their monopoly on violence to destroy its ability to use as money or payment. If you store gold at home, anyone with a gun can come in and take it from you. Bitcoin is remarkably robust and resilient to this kind of attack because it exists on a decentralized peer-to-peer blockchain network. Your Bitcoin can be stored in your head. As long as you remember the private keys or your hardware wallet seed phrase, the man with a gun cannot take it from you. They cannot shut down the server or assassinate the CEO of the Bitcoin company because Bitcoin has no leader, no company, no office to remove or manipulate, and no central point to reboot the system. No one can actually stop or ban Bitcoin. They can try and make it illegal to use it in their home country, but you can just move to Bitcoin-friendly countries like Singapore, Japan, Hong Kong, Switzerland, Georgia, and more. Whoever company that is trying to ban Bitcoin, they actually were going to be lagged behind. Bitcoin is also completely counterfeit resistant. Gold, you can actually fake gold. It's not easy to tell unless you have the machine. But the Bitcoin algorithm and blockchain network is as strong as it's ever been and keeps growing stronger as more and more miners coming to the game. It would cost too much and take too long to hack the Bitcoin network that it is almost pointless. It's cheaper to buy it or mine it anyway, and you might as well do it eagerly. Without the correct keys, it is virtually impossible to counterfeit Bitcoin. However, if you lose your private key or the seed of your wallet, then the coins become lost forever. Without the private key, there is no one else can access your lost Bitcoin and claim it for themselves. It is super important that you back up your wallet as a first priority. Learn that. I would say Bitcoin is the safest and secure way to store value other than gold. Number 5, durability. Gold has strong durability. It is fireproof, surviving high heat from a normal house fire. Gold can survive up to 1000 degrees Celsius. It is also rust-proof and can lie at the bottom of the ocean for 1000 years without losing its value. And Bitcoin can be backed up and stored in multiple locations all around the world, therefore can also exist in every country in the world to avoid fire and flood damage as well. Unless all the locations are all on fire and flood, then bad luck. Number 6. Baseline value. Gold has historically been used in many applications, from luxury items like jewelry to specialized applications in dentistry, electronics, and more. Gold will never go to the value of 0 and become worthless due to its 5,000 years history. There is a long history of trust in gold. Gold is rare and has a finite supply. It would cost a lot of money, labor, and time to mine gold from the earth. But there is more gold that is buried in the ocean and in asteroids in space, which we haven't developed the technology or money to mine them yet. Apparently, NASA is eyeing up a nearby asteroid that contains enough gold to make everyone on Earth a billionaire, and is reportedly sending droids to check it out. So there is an opportunity to discover more gold in the future. So gold supply is increasing slowly and steadily. Now, Bitcoin, on the other hand, has a much more specific fixed amount of supply, 21 millions, period. The last piece of Bitcoin will be mined around 2140. Satoshi designed Bitcoin supply to cut in half every 4 years or so, which is called the Bitcoin halving. I have made a video to talk about this coming cycle, which will occur in a week in May 2020. As former Facebook executive and self-made Bitcoin millionaire Shamath say, Bitcoin will either go to 0 or millions in value because it either works or it doesn't. For now, the risk to reward ratio is so high with Bitcoin. If you have invested $100 in Bitcoin 5 years ago, you will have 3,600 by now. Well, I'll take that risk. Finally, number 7, tangibility. Now, if you dig a hole somewhere on a mountain to put your gold in it, and then you forget to draw a treasure map and you forgot to tell anyone, and then you die, or you forget where you put it, your gold is probably lost forever. Until a very lucky guy with a metal detector finds it someday and claims as theirs. Bitcoin is similar in this sense. As mentioned, if you forget your private key and have not backed up, then your Bitcoin is also lost forever. However, the advantage of Bitcoin is that you can back it up in 1,000 different locations if you want to, and teleport it back to yourself anytime you wish, as long as you have a computer and internet connection. Bitcoin can be stored in multiple locations at once, but can only be spent once. Like a redeemable coupon code, you can email 1,000 copies everywhere, but you can only redeem it once. Since Bitcoin is its own peer-to-peer global payment system, there is no third-party risk. You can send $1 million across the globe and store it there for 10 years without involving a single other human being in the transaction, and no storage fees. Now, besides the overall volatility, Bitcoin is a rather simple long-term payment model. Perhaps the biggest question it hinges on is exactly how much adoption will Bitcoin have in the coming years? Well, I trust you like this video, and give me a like and subscribe if you want to know more about gold, Bitcoin, silver, or spiritual thing. And stay tuned. Bye. Peace out.